있겠습니다, 여보. Oh man, that was really good.
The seafood Italian. I'm really happy these days.
Yeah?
I can cook whatever I want to.
And you've always been able to cook whatever you wanted to.
Yeah, but I tend to just cook simpler things. But now I'm trying things that I want to do, even though it takes a little more time. Just because I have this excuse that, oh, I make YouTube videos. Like I'm doing things that I really wanted to.
My stomach thinks it. Can I ask, I don't know if it's a controversial question or not, but there's a category of women in America who they're openly like fine with like getting married and being a like full-time mom, that kind of thing. And some people who are like, you're so much more than, but they're like, no, like that's what I want to be. I want to be a full-time mom. And that's sort of like counter to what everybody is sort of told to think or like kind of taught to think. Are there that type of woman in Korea where they're like open about it? They're fine with like getting married and having kids and like not having the career.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of.
As I've already told you so many times, Korea is very, very deeply rooted in Confucianism. And one of the 5 or 3 virtues was being in your position for women, supporting your husband and raising kids. So yes, there are still women like that, but when people are saying that, oh yeah, I want to be a mom, want to raise my kid and support my husband, I think these days they get this look of being old-fashioned. But you know, everybody finds their happiness in a whole sort of thing. And this is just where I feel like some people are thinking that I'm a bit pathetic for just, you know, being at home and just cooking for you. But I'm happy to be able to make you feel better when you come home, and I appreciate for your hard work, and I want to show you my appreciation. And also, I'm not just doing for you, but I'm really happy for cooking. Like, I don't want to cook for all day, so I don't cook all day. But whenever I cook, then I want to do it. Was the answer?
That wasn't really the direction that I was going.
Yeah.
I was just genuinely curious because like there's occasionally you'll be scrolling Instagram or Twitter and that kind of thing will come up. It seems like every person on social media, if they're trying to be an influencer, right, they've got to sort of find their own lifestyle, I guess. And that was just one of them. So I didn't know if there was that kind of lifestyle. I wasn't prompting you to, you know, try and defend yourself.
But at the same time, that's also one of the things that I wanted to say. Well, whatever you do, like if it is a thing that you like and you are trying your best to do the best, then I don't think that's a bad thing at all. Like as long as it's not illegal. But yeah, to simply answer your question, I think there are people who think that that's very old-fashioned, but it's classic.
And that was sort of my thing. Like, are there young people these days that...
I think it's a problem these days though. Like, there are women who think that home bakers are just women who doesn't work but get money from her husband and just, you know, do nothing, like a free rider. Or some men think that girl wants to be a homemaker are the one who wants to be just a free rider, which is understandable if they think in this way. But you know, homemaker has a lot of things to do.
Obviously.
Yeah.
If you were literally like a free rider, like literally like you didn't do anything, you ordered all of the food, you had a eye that came every day to clean the house. Like, I'm more specifically talking about a wife that genuinely wants to have children.
That's the thing, because now everybody in Korea is feeling hard to live, you know, and making money. Low birth rate, those are all because it's really difficult to live. So when you say that, oh, I want to be a homemaker, can easily be understood as like, I want to be a free rider. So I guess they tend to don't say that.
There was a professional football player, and he gave a commencement speech at I think it was a Catholic university, and he basically said, you know, yes, like for the women in the audience, like a lot of this is a great accomplishment, but I believe, and I think you will too, that, you know, one of like your greatest accomplishments is going to be like starting a family and having children, that kind of thing.
That's absolutely not okay.
And
he said
well, he got a lot of,
at the
but it was
women's college, right?
But I think it was like a Catholic women's college. Anyway, let me.
Catholics are changing these days. Like even Pope is accepting.
But again, this would not have been something controversial 20 years ago. Like it would have just been like par for the course. But because he said in like this day and age, it became like a bit of a controversy. Yeah, it was at Benedictine College in Atchison, Kansas, where he said most women receiving degrees were probably more excited about getting married and having kids.
No, if that speech was made in any women's college in South Korea or in any college in South Korea, that would have been a big controversy.
And, you know, it was...
Like, it's not okay, absolutely not okay to say that, but if it came out from men's mouth, that's way normal.
But I bet there are, you know, maybe a small percentage, but there are a percentage of women that are still graduating university, and they probably feel that way. So the fact that basically he got a lot of negative press for saying it, it's not like he was completely off base though, because
there must be one.
there are not just one, there's probably many.
Some.
He said most women receiving degrees.
Most women, really?
But he was speaking at a Catholic college where, like, in Catholicism, much more emphasis is being put on starting a family. Yes, women can also achieve degrees and become very successful, but Catholicism has always sort of tried to focus on the family as like the core unit of society.
Okay. Maybe
I'm not saying
I'm
not saying I agree.
Maybe it was possible that he was able to make that speech because it was Catholic university. Because I think the depth that Korean has on religion is not as deep. I guess for the depth, it could be same, but like amount of people wise, I think America has more. Like a lot of Korean don't have religion. So there must be a lot of people who just go to like Buddhist university or Catholic university just because they were able to get in, not because they were sincere. So because of that percentage, that there might be a lot of percentage of people who doesn't really have like that much depth of belief on religion. If he were to make that same speech in South Korea,
Say that he gave that speech in Korea, what would have been the reaction of the crowd? Would it have been like, wow, really? Would it have been like laugh? Would they like stand up and boo? Would they shout and be like,
we don't
like,
do that
you're
in front of people. We don't humiliate people. Like we hold.
No, but I mean, but there's still like, you know, a lot of times there's an audience will groan like, oh, or
a lot of people are going to be taken aback.
Okay.
Especially for women, I think, because as I said, maybe in America there are a lot of people who sincerely believe a certain religion. Maybe they go to like Catholic university, but as I said, there are a lot of Korean who still go to this certain religious
just because
university.
they get good education.
Yeah. When you're talking about things on the Bible or whatever the script that they have, I don't know, like you want to be a bit neutral because there are people who don't fully believe that.
I disagree with that.
In Korea.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because even I don't have religion, but if I can get into like a good Catholic university, then I'll go.
But you think that the commencement speaker would maybe like not talk about God because he might risk offending like people that don't have religion?
He or she can speak about whatever things on Bible or any script they believe, but they should water it down for the people who don't really have that much sincere belief. 여보, as I said,
wow. And so you think to make sure we don't offend that 10%, you have to cut out all of the stuff that might be controversial to 10%? What if some of the 10% felt the way that he felt? What about those people?
I know what you're doing.
I'm just saying.
I'm just being realistic, baby. Because I know what you're doing, I'll say, he or she can say whatever she or he wants.
Gosh. No, tell me what you think. Come on.
I think it's crazy.
What he said?
What he said was crazy.
I don't think it's crazy. I can see how it would get a shocked reaction or like groans being like, oh my god, here's like this rich athlete like telling us we should be more excited about starting families than, you know, getting a degree.
Well, he didn't say that we should. He just assumed. So that's different, but anyway.
So, but I think there's probably a small percentage, but yet a percentage of people who, yeah, they probably are. Like, they've got their degree, they're going to start working, but they're also, like, really excited about getting married and starting a family.
That's not what I'm saying. Oh, dang it.
I know. It's hard in a second language.
My point of saying that speech was crazy was because
Crazy.
that's his belief, which I agree that there must be good amount of people there that wants to be a mom, raising children, supporting husband like I do.
It doesn't mention being like a stay-at-home mom. He's saying, though you guys are getting your degrees, there's probably a large percentage of you who are most looking forward to getting married and starting a family.
Most looking forward in starting a family. Well, you said that he implied a homemaker.
No, I didn't.
I mean, yeah, well, a lot of women wants to get married, so I guess in that case he wasn't completely crazy. But the way that I understood was he thought a lot of women
We're
wanted
probably
to be
more excited about getting married and having kids than receiving degrees. So,
getting married, yes. Having kids, to me, it sounds a bit dangerous to say as Korean because our birth rate, is just plummeting.
but your government's like actively trying to promote.
Yeah, I know.
But increasing the birth rate.
That's all because women these days don't want to have a baby.
So it's okay for
It's
the
not
it's
just
okay for the
women.
government to say like have more kids, but it's not okay
First of all,
for a
it's not
convention
just
speaker.
women, it's young people.
It's
It's not just woman's single decision, it's young couples decision that don't want to have baby because it's difficult to leave. And because of that, it's not just their problem, it's not their fault, it's societal issue. Because of this and that problem, they simply cannot afford a baby.
Can't afford a baby or can't afford to
Raising kids.
give the
Raising
baby
kids.
the life that they think that they're gonna need in order to be successful.
여보, why are you doing this? Like, it's going to take a lot of money.
Yeah.
So a couple decided not to have a kid. Hence, therefore, in this society, I think that wording could be considered as like a crossing line. But he was okay because he gave that speech in America. So I guess
Well, I mean,
it wasn't
it was still
implying
controversial.
I'm sure there are going to be a lot of women who wants to be a homemaker. That could be controversial, but
Well, if they were going to university to get a degree, they're probably not planning on being a homemaker.
I know,
he-
but you said that's not what he meant.
Yeah.
He meant, I'm sure a lot of women wanted to make a family
they're
and have
more
a kid.
excited about.
Still, I see the point of people think that's controversial because I feel in the same way too. It kind of make you second guess of
Yeah.
what do you mean, but I don't really want to like nitpick word by word of just one random person that
Right.
I don't even.
Changing the subject just slightly. If there were no Hagwons in Korea, do you think the birth rate would be higher?
It's not that simple.
No?
Just getting rid of Hagwon system
Yep.
could be a big trial
Yeah.
for changing things, but again, you have to change the fundamental, I think.
Okay,
And
such
Hagwon
as?
is like this competition. Basically, people don't give birth because they think that their children will not be able to have humanly life. Is it right way?
You mean a life like better than theirs?
Yeah.
What would be the
price,
reasons for that?
Housing.
Okay.
Well, that I think is one of the main.
But you can find a house, a cheap house, if you're willing to not live in a big city, right?
And do people want that?
If they want to live a house. There's people that move to Texas from California because they want a big house and they don't want to.
What job do you have in this countryside now, or suburb area?
Well, I mean, any kind of government job,
Government job, is it easy to get?
teacher, there's construction, there's, electrician, there's
Government
welder,
job, teachers, blue collar job, people don't
Yeah.
want blue collar job because it doesn't really get enough money and the welfare is not that great.
But if there's not enough people doing blue collar work, then the people that are doing blue collar work can ask for more money.
It's not that simple.
Yeah, it is.
I
It's supply and demand.
Yeah, well, I wish I had the straight, simple answer I can just give you. But, if that was that simple, then
Yeah.
why do you think the government is still trying to resolve this problem, but they cannot?
I'm trying to find like the root of the problem. You could say, oh, it's the chaebols. There's not enough competition. Like they basically control everything, and so you know, if there were less giant mega corporations. I'm literally trying to like get to the root of like why the birth rate is so low.
Well, as I said, there's this certain picture that people want to fit themselves. Good apartment in nice part of Seoul, and
Okay, but let's say that that's like, I want a good apartment in Manhattan. I have to make a stupid amount of money to have a good apartment in Manhattan, but I can live in another part of New York and pay less, and yeah, I have
That's the
to
thing.
commute.
Like in
but-
Korea, all the good chances are packed in Seoul. Yes, there must be chances that you can get successful in other parts,
Yeah.
but that's very minor.
How can it be minor? Like, Busan is a big city.
Yo,
Daegu is a big
there
city.
are-
I know it's not in.
It's a huge problem in Busan right now that they are losing young people.
Like, when that kind of thing happens in the States, then usually the governments of the city or the governments of the states will like provide incentives for companies to move to those cities or to those states.
Government also tried, I guess. Sejong City is one of that, but
I know most of the people are living in Seoul and commuting to Sejong. I get that.
but you're asking me too difficult question.
This
if you
isn't
just
for
listen
the
to me,
video.
I
This is
know.
literally.
I know.
I just want to have a conversation.
I
I'm
know.
not trying to like make content.
I know, but I do. And also, I gotta bring my. Are you hungry?
You made me wait a long time.
It wasn't that long. It was just like 30 more minutes than usual.
Anyway, where were we?
If you just listen to me, there's just certain ideal look of people want, and in order to achieve that, it's very competitive. So people just kind of gave up of having children because there is stronger chance for them to be able to be closer to that ideal level, the state of life, without having kids, because kid A is going to take up a lot of money, and B, because if you have kids, you want to make sure that you give, all the good things as all the parents want. But for that, the kid is going to have the same pressure as they have had.
So like my friend Ryan, before they had kids, they were living the dink life, double income, no kids.
Yeah, we say that. Dink tribe.
Do you think there comes a point in which the people that have chosen to live that dink life, do you think they come to regret not having kids?
I mean, they're always going to think about what if.
No.
That's all the people do. But if that's their decision,
No, I'm not saying it's a wrong decision.
I'm saying there is a reason, and I'm not just saying it's 100% government fault. It's just really complicated.
Oh no, I mean,
people like me
you're,
to know.
it's a problem with all of East Asia, really.
Not just East Asia, I think.
Well, which countries have like the lowest birth rates in the world? Japan, Korea, and China.
Yeah, but Hungary was one of that too.
Again, this isn't. I'm not criticizing it. I'm literally just having a conversation.
I love having conversation, by the way. Don't get me wrong, but it's just difficult question, and I know what you're playing. You're dragging me deep down.
What do you think made blue collar work like so looked down upon?
What I've read was like during Korean War, people who have college degree were not drafted. So after Korean War, they started to send their kids to university. Like that was the, I guess, spark of the desire for education in South Korea. So when everybody started to go to university, it kind of became must. But blue collar job is a job where you don't really have to have college degree.
Right, but you still have to have a lot of
Good skill.
expertise.
Exactly. But the problem is their welfare doesn't look like it's good. But when I see people, they make really good money and their welfare is also pretty good. But I guess again, there's this ideal job that people want to have.
I mean, it's not only in Korea. I mean, like the U.S. has some would say too much on going to university, and now it's sort of coming back where blue collar work you can make more because you actually have skills. Whereas a lot of people that go to university, they take out a ton of debt, they get degrees that maybe aren't even worth anything. And then, especially if they don't finish college, then they don't have the degree and they're still in a lot of debt. But because there was sort of like a scarcity of blue collar work
In America.
There was. Well, there is to an extent, which is why we have so much immigration. But one of Robin's grandson, Lane, he had top marks, probably could have gone to just about any school that he wanted to. But the lumberyard just down the street pays him like $50 an hour, something ridiculous. And he literally sits in a control room, and he didn't have to get a college degree. He hardly even has to work with his hands, but he has to, essentially work as an operator. But he's good with that, and he makes a killing. So what I'm saying is that, there's like a massive push in the States right now to bring manufacturing back, and to bring, the manufacturing that's done in the States is genuinely, very high value manufacturing. But that's also the way it is in Korea. You guys make some of the best semiconductors, you make amazing cars, you make giant ships, some of the world's biggest tankers, and so surely those jobs have got to pay well.
But I heard that for the semiconductor job, they are now building factories in the States, and they have factories in China.
It doesn't mean they're going to close the ones in Korea down, it just means that they need more of them.
They are considered so even if you're working for the factory, if you're working for that, those named big corporation, their benefits and everything is good. The blue collar job that I'm saying is
there's obviously levels.
Yeah, if you are hired by
if you're just a laborer, that's one thing. But generally, if you're working on a factory floor of a major pharmaceutical, semiconductor, or automotive, or shipbuilding, you need a certain level of training and expertise. Yeah. And those jobs tend to pay well because most of them are unionized. So at least in the States, I don't know if unions are a big thing in Korea, but I imagine they would be. So
union doesn't have as much power as U.S. union have. Samsung was not allowed union until recent years, and I heard a podcast a few months ago that they were having problems with the company, basically just ignoring them. So union has a power. I think that's only European or American thing. It doesn't apply in South Korea. And Korean shipbuilding factories, I heard that they are having a huge problem finding people.
I mean, similar in the States, we couldn't. There were
shipping company in the States.
The States,
they all moved out.
The only ships that we build, I think, are for the military. Because those have to be made in the States, but all of the major tankers and container ships, those are all built in China or South Korea.
Honestly, I don't know the reason.
But I guess what I'm saying is, if being a welder on a ship in Korea, if it can't find anybody to do it, the pay is going to increase. So you can make $100 an hour. Then
it doesn't really work in that way.
That's simple economics, honey.
I know.
If you cannot find somebody to do the job, then you increase the amount of money until somebody is willing to do the job. Right? That's why trash collectors make really, really good money, because most people refuse to do that job, and then they keep upping the pay until somebody's like, well, hell, if I can make that much, I'll move trash. I mean, so it's the same thing. If it can't find a welder to weld a ship together for $50 an hour, then you increase it to $75, because hell, somebody will do it for $75, and if they can't do it for $75, then somebody will do it for $100.
This is gonna go really long. So please don't stop me. Because you cannot find Korean working for the shipment company, they now have to depend on foreign workers because they are willing to work for the cheaper laborers. Then does it mean that we should not have them coming in because really American?
여보, I'm saying if you want your people to continue as a race of people, if you want Koreans to continue, then they need to make more money. And in order for them to make more money, they need to have jobs where they can make more money. And if they're not going to do a job because it doesn't pay enough, then they need to pay them more.
Well, Korean finance depends on big corporations.
Break up the big corporation. We've circled back around to it.
Oh my god. Well, it's complicated. They're working on it.